Hello and welcome. My name is Johan Hauptmann, and I would like to tell you the story of a dream I had back in 1999. I was lying in my bed and I'd just fallen asleep, and then I saw these very angry, very serious looking faces coming towards me. They were like faces made of wood or stone. Some of the faces looked as if they were made of wood, and others of the faces looked as if they were made of stone. And they were very angry and agitated about something. And then I realized that these were the scribes and the Pharisees that are described in the Bible in John chapter 8 verse 1 to 11. And they were the scribes and the Pharisees who had taken a woman in adultery, and now they wanted to stone her to death. Now there was a striking contrast between these Pharisees and Jesus. Jesus sat there by a great big rock. He was sitting there and writing in the sand. And the Pharisees, as I've explained, looked very angry, very serious. And then there was Jesus, who had this very serene, very peaceful and happy look on his face. He was sitting there in a very relaxed manner. And the Pharisees came to him and said, "Look here, we bring you this woman, and she's been caught in adultery in the very act. Now, according to the law of Moses, she should be stoned to death. But what will you say?" And Jesus, he just sat there as if he didn't hear what they were saying. But then they went on and on. She's committed adultery. She should be stoned. What do you say? And in the end, he looked up and he said to them, "Well, he of you who is without sin, he can cast the first stone." And then they thought about it for a little while, and being convicted by their own conscience, they left one by one, starting with the oldest and even to the last. And when the Pharisees and the scribes had left the scene, then there was just Jesus and the woman standing there, left there. And Jesus said to the woman, "Did no one condemn you?" And she said, "No one, Lord." And he said to her, "Well, neither will I condemn you. Go and sin no more." And then she left, and Jesus left the scene, and I was left there. And there was a whole crowd of people who witnessed the whole scene, and they were also there. And now it was my job to explain to them what the deeper meaning of this story was. And I tried to explain it to them as well as I could. I don't remember what I explained to them. I don't remember what I told them. I just remember telling them about the meaning of this story. And then all of a sudden a great big pea pot appeared, like the ones you pick in the summer and you open them up to get the peas out inside that you can eat. And this great big pea pot appeared, and it opened up, and then you could see inside of it there was all these wonderful patterns and beautiful shapes and spirals in different colors and all sorts of intricate, very detailed patterns. It was very beautiful and wonderful to look at. And I knew that was the internal or spiritual sense of the story that was being explained by these patterns. But I just couldn't make any sense of them. I didn't know what they meant. I just knew that it was a very beautiful story, and there was there's a big difference between the story of this woman taken in adultery and the internal sense inside the story. There was a big it was, the internal sense was nothing like the story is portrayed in the Bible. It was far more beautiful and wonderful to see. And then my dream ended and I woke up. And I'd just like to finish off by saying that this idea of the internal sense or spiritual sense in the Bible is not something new. If you want to read more about it, if you want to know more about it, you should read the writings of Emanuel Swedenborg, because he's written more about the internal sense of the Bible than anyone else. I believe he's the only one who's ever written about the internal or spiritual sense of the Bible. And he really gives some very good explanations as to this spiritual sense. But for now, goodbye, and thank you for your time, and I hope you have a really good day, and I hope I've given you something to think about. Bye for now.